quick disclaimer for this episode. This is a lost episode, so some of the topics might be out of date. It's old as fuck. I forgot to upload it, but it's here now. So I hope you guys enjoy on the lost episode, the lost first episode of the AFD show. Welcome to episode 1 of the AFD, or Auditory Fever Dreams show. I am Convo with my co-host, Pedro. Announce yourself.
Hello.
Yes, okay. Alright, now that you know who he is, he's Puerto Rican. That's about it. That's all that...
I'm fat. That will also play. You'll hear me make a lot of self-deprecating jokes about my obesity.
Okay. Yes, but this is the promised second show that I said I would do with actual other people, so there would be a real, actual rapport and banter and a personality to bounce off of. I am like peeking the fuck out of the audio, I'm sure, as Pedro grabs a rock star. Yeah, just crack that right next to the mic, why don't you?
Oh, ASMR.
No, don't.
Pog. ASMR. Listen to this, guys.
The audio is so fucking bad. It's so bad.
Funny.
But on the AFD show, we will be talking about things for a set period of time. We don't know what that set period of time even is.
We'll try to keep it around like an hour.
Well, like an hour to 2 hours, just to make sure that everything that we...
if we have a good topic, 2 hours would be better.
If we have a good topic, 2 hours would be better.
Or like a good controversial topic, because everybody loves a bit of controversy.
It's true, everyone does love a bit of controversy. Except in this day and age, where it's like, you said something I disagree with, die.
Oh yeah, people overreacting and not being human. It's like, yes, I'm a human, I make mistakes. Welcome to our race.
Welcome to being a human, population 9 billion.
Almost at this point. Oh, it's 8.
8 billion?
Yeah.
Remember a few years ago when it was 7 billion and it was scary then? It's like, wow, 7 billion people, that's a lot.
But it's because people are growing exponentially.
Yeah, it's because...
three
Stop
people.
Fucking India.
Oh, no. You can't. No. Chloe.
Am I wrong? They do have, like, the second largest population. Have you seen how large that country is? It's not... The country itself is tiny, but it has the second largest population in the world.
There's a reason why it's the best starting place on Plague Incorporated. It's got the highest population.
I always start in Arabia, bro.
I started in India, bro. It's easy clap. It's literally the best place to start. Over 1 billion people with, like, piss poor quality, because that's just the way the game's written. I'm not saying India has piss poor medical quality. Don't at me, okay?
Basically, yeah, because everyone there is a doctor. Hello. My name is Rajneesh.
No.
I am doctor.
Oh, what? But no, like, in the game, their medical treatment condition is, like, piss poor.
No, they treat it like a third world country.
Exactly.
Which it's not. I mean, go to Mumbai and you'd be surprised. You'd be fooled into thinking it was a third world country.
Enough with the bullshit.
But that actually is a pretty good segue into our topic today, which is
games we like and don't like for whatever reason it may be.
Yeah, you know what game I don't like?
Hit me with it.
Candy Crush Saga.
Honestly, I feel like every puzzle game nowadays and stuff like Candy Crush
every puzzle game
down to something that's therapeutic, like you can just relax and do without dividing your attention to. Because it's not a labor-intensive game. You just swipe up and down, and something you can do while you're literally anywhere, and it just takes your mind off of the mind-numbingly boring job you have. And that's why it's so popular with adults. Because a lot of people...
Yeah, honestly.
Like, the whole scheme behind it.
The problem I have with puzzle games, though, is we went from, like, Portal, which is, like... Here's a fucking room... There's a goal at the end of the room. Here's 3 gels that do very specific things, and you have a portal gun. Figure shit out.
Well, yeah, exactly. And of course, games like that were good. And then you had the most basic puzzle game.
And then you go to like Zuma.
Yeah, you had like Tetris.
Do you remember Zuma?
I remember Zuma.
Zuma.
Zuma. What was the origin of Zuma? The marble game, the marble snake game. What was it called? My mom was like professional. I don't know how. I would sit there for like.
I think we all have those games where our moms could like beat our asses.
Dude, my mom would whoop my ass any day in Tetrisphere. Tetrisphere, she's an undefeated champ. I'm pretty sure she was like 3 levels off of a world record in the endless mode in that game. She's fucking Pog champ in Tetris. But that's what puzzle games used to be, really simplistic. And now it's just we've innovated so much that people expect basic concept puzzle games to reach new levels, and that's where we get all these weird games like Best Fiends, where you have the puzzle game side of it, and then there's a whole other arc where you have to upgrade your heroes to make them do more damage when you swipe the patterns. And what people don't realize is the market for simple puzzle games are people that like simple puzzle games. There's a market for that.
There's a market for people who
Why do you think Bejeweled is still so popular? Bejeweled, there's literally nothing outside of swiping gems together.
Yeah, that is actually true.
Another game I don't like that's heavily controversial is Call of Duty. I don't understand how people can play this same
I don't
game.
understand how people could pick up a new Call of Duty every year. I stopped playing COD at Black Ops 2 because I was like, look at what's this futuristic bullshit. I'm like, this is dumb. I only kept the game around because the zombies was the best it's ever been.
Well, yeah, and I liked Call of Duty up until I would say Infinite Warfare. Infinite Warfare was pretty decent after release. After a little while after release, when it finally got all of its tweaks and balances done and handled, then it was a fun game. And the main reason I say that is because these games added something new to the formula, and now it's just going back to man with gun shoots other man with gun. What do? It's caveman.
Yeah.
It's really boring.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that if you play Call of Duty you're a caveman or that you're retarded or stupid. I'm just saying that Call of Duty doesn't innovate by simply adding a new sprint, which was like the huge deal about Modern Warfare.
Yeah,
that everyone was
I remember.
pitching was like, look at the new tactical sprint where you can run without. You just run instead of focusing on holding your gun.
I remember talking with Noah back before he lived here, and he's like, dude, Modern Warfare looks awesome, bro.
And
he's like, you should get it. And I was like, I don't know. He's like, dude, it's so different. It's like a completely different game. And then I looked up some gameplay on it, and I'm like, this is the same thing.
Well, no, it's not like mainly people were talking about the campaign because everyone was like, oh great, another Modern Warfare remaster. And that's essentially what it is with a different campaign, a different story arc to go through. And I get that graphical improvements can be implemented, but I don't understand why people are acting like these companies are innovating when they're not.
Yeah, like honestly, I think the biggest innovator in the game has been Valve. Because Valve, like, at least back in the day, when they were still making games instead of just relying on Steam sales and Dota 2 crate openings, they were innovators. They only made games when there was something new to add to the formula, which is why they always recruited like modders who used to mod like Half-Life 1, because Half-Life 1 became fucking like 3 different games. I think it became Counter-Strike, Day of Defeat, which is like defunct now. There's no Day of Defeat games, and Team Fortress, which is which is my favorite first-person shooter of all time.
Half-Life also ended up becoming one of the most famous video games of all time.
And it became a fucking meme to where, hey, where's our Half-Life 3? And it looks like we might actually get it within the next few years.
Well, yeah, and Half-Life also became the solid base for a platform of game that is literally built around mods. Gary's Mod. The whole point of the game is for you to download mods to see what people have done, because people started realizing, especially with stuff like Valve and corporate companies like Valve, they're like, hey, the players know what the players want. How revolutionary is that?
Yeah. Honestly.
Valve went to the consumer and said, hey, what changes would you make? And that's essentially what they did. They put the ball in the consumer's court so the consumer could decide the future of their product. In order to better suit what the consumer wanted, they let the consumer have input. And
it kind of sucks, to be honestly, because Valve is one of the, I think, biggest examples, at least until recently, of a company that completely looks out for their consumer
and
listens to them, and then they just went silent for years. And I still have a very, very big bone to pick with Valve, like a fucking T-Rex shin bone sized bone to pick with Valve.
T-Rex femur.
T-Rex femur size. Because TF2. Any TF2 players listening in on this podcast right now, you know that it has been 3 years, 1,000 days without an update. Don't fucking tell me. Don't be that cheeky bastard. There was an update. No, they just moved one file into another folder. That's not an update.
That's like...
Their team is basically a two-man skeleton crew. All they add is community market shit that finds its way into crates. And there's a huge problem with the VAC system because there's a hacker. There's a hacker every fucking match, and every match you have one team saying, "Hey, can you guys kick your hackers?" "Okay. Can you guys kick your hackers?" "Yeah."
And then it becomes a mutual agreement to remove the problem, which the VAC system obviously is flawed. If you have the players targeting
the problem is the VAC system worked for years. If you were caught cheating, you were banned from every Valve game. You were not allowed to play a Valve game.
See, this is something I would not know.
Yeah,
as I am not part of the PC
I think
game.
you weren't even allowed to use Steam if you got VAC banned.
And like
your account was locked down. Like you wouldn't be able to use multiplayer games.
I think the smart thing to do for a company like Valve to capitalize on, because their games are legendary.
Yeah,
their games are like some of their games are.
Team Fortress 2. Team Fortress 2 is probably one of the longest surviving multiplayer games out there.
Why do you think remasters make so much when it's a remaster of a good game?
Exactly.
Look at games like Bulletstorm that almost outdid the original sales with the remaster.
Right.
Same thing with the new Final Fantasy remaster.
Okay. I know you say that I stand FromSoft sometimes, but I have so much shit to talk about for the fucking Dark Souls remaster because all it is a graphical upgrade. That is all it is. They do not
the audio chart. It's just
well, yeah, that's just the frequency of my voice. It's really loud.
Beautiful.
It's very beautiful. But the Dark Souls remaster, which people have taken to calling the Dark Souls demaster sometimes, is the fact that it's basically the same exact Dark Souls, jank and all, but it looks a little nicer. Like there's reflection on the shield and armor. Right, and the problem I have with that is the original Dark Souls had so much shit wrong with it, but we loved it anyway. Like, the areas, like, an example, anyone who's played through Dark Souls and made it to Lost Izalith, you fucking hated that area, because that area was barely finished. And it was complete bullshit. And the fact that they didn't fix that area at all, didn't add on to it, make it even playable, shows me that the remaster was just a cash grab. They didn't add omnidirectional rolling or any of the like combat, like just any of the quality of life fixes that were in Dark Souls 2 and 3.
That's what I think a remaster should be. A remaster should be a bringing up to date of the graphical intensity. So, if you have 2008 graphics in your 2008 game, you basically bring that game's graphic into a modern era. And then you just fix bugs that you never bothered to fix when you released the original game.
Oh yeah, but Dark Souls thing is Dark Souls didn't fix a lot of its bugs.
That's why the Dark Souls remaster a lot of people didn't like.
I bought it because I love Dark Souls like my own fucking child, and I bought it and I played through it and I fucking love it because it's Dark Souls 1, one of the greatest, debatably, one of the greatest games ever released. But the thing is, there's so much problems with it that could have been easily fixed. Or there's so many combat quality of life changes that they could have added that just weren't there.
Well, exactly, and a lot of game companies would make more money if they realized that a remaster is not a new game in the series.
Yes,
that's not what a remaster is. A remaster is a graphical improvement because the graphics are dated.
At least what I can say. Because they're doing another Souls remaster, this time Demon Souls. I have never played Demon Souls. And now that will be my opportunity to play the first ever entry in the Souls series. Right. And it actually looks like they listened to their fans who were pissed at the Dark Souls remaster, which was a fucking insult, basically. Spitting in our eyes, saying, hey, here's this shit that we pumped out years ago. We just added in some fucking God rays.
Well, yeah.
But it looks like in Demon Souls, there's actual fucking upgrades and quality of life fixes that will make the game more playable.
Well, exactly, yeah. I don't think when you remaster a game that you should necessarily add anything new to it, because if it's a game that was high enough quality to remaster, people will play it just to experience it again in a
which is why people weren't more mad at Dark Souls 1.
Well, exactly, because they enjoyed going back and experiencing the game again when it looks better.
Ask any Dark Souls fan, hey, if you could wipe your memory of Dark Souls and play it over again, would you? Yes.
Well, yeah, exactly. See, basically, it's like the SpongeBob remaster.
Oh yeah, the
SpongeBob
remake.
Remaster. Yeah,
it wasn't even a remaster; it was a remake. They built it back from the ground up. There's a new boss in there that was only in concept art. I remember playing the first game as a kid and unlocking the movie theater where you can just look at concept art and seeing that planned Squidward boss battle and wondering, man, that would have been super fucking cool to play. And now it's in the game.
Exactly, yeah. And that's the example of a good remaster. They took some of the game problems the game had, a lot of the exploits, bugs, and glitches, and they fixed them. They remedied them out with a new game engine, and then they brought the graphics up to date, added a couple new things that should have probably been in the original game, and then released it. And the remaster, I have to say, I don't care what anyone says, the water in the new SpongeBob game is beautiful. Yeah, it looks really nice. The environment is very aesthetically pleasing, and I like it.
It's very bright and colorful, and it looks like it belongs in a 3D game. It looks like it's weird, because you know that weird period in time where they just started making like 2D 3D games based off of 2D like graphic systems. Like, I can think one of the best video games in my opinion is Simpsons Hit and Run, but it looks fucking weird. The art style does not translate well into 3D.
Right.
And I've always said that game deserves a fucking remaster, a remake. And I'm so glad games like Destroy All Humans are getting a remake.
Well, yeah, Destroy All Humans is getting a lot of these older games that had dated graphic systems but were loved for their charm. Their innate charm are getting remastered. Because a game can have charm. A game can be so bad it's good. And that happens a lot.
Yeah, that's why I think the greatest crime a game can commit is being boring.
Exactly.
Like, a bad game you can have a ton of things to talk about and gripe on, and a good game you can remember for years and years because of all the great memories you've had of it. But a boring game is fucking nothing.
Yeah, you pass it on. You buy it, you play it, you get disappointed, and then you never touch it again.
No one's going to talk about a Killzone.
Well, yeah, because Killzone was... I grew up playing Killzone, so there's a lot of nostalgia factor to it. Like, if I played Killzone again, there would be a lot of nostalgia. And if they remastered it, there would be a lot of nostalgia there. Because it was just a game that I played when I was little. I played it basically before I played Call of Duty.
I was just pulling an example of a game out of my ass. To be honest, I don't even know what Killzone is.
Killzone is a pretty generic first-person shooter in comparison to like modern-day first-person shooters where you have all these weird games like fucking... Apex and shit, where you have these first-person shooters that are just way left field, that have these completely radical concepts and ideas.
Well, the weird thing is about Apex is it's in the Titanfall universe, and you wouldn't know that unless you played Titanfall.
Well, exactly, yeah.
Because you're like, oh wait, I recognize that gun.
Well, yeah, and they're just slightly changed, and it's mainly because Respawn wanted to capitalize on this whole new Battle Royale craze.
Yeah, and they ended up making debatably the best Battle Royale in the market.
Well, yeah, and I'm not trying to say Battle Royale games are all bad. I just myself am not I don't like being competitive. I
don't really play multiplayer games all that often. The only one that I still fuck with to this day is Team Fortress 2, is because I think that game is... There's a shit ton of problems with it, but I love it. I love that game.
I grew up in the middle of nowhere, so my internet was always bad, so trying to get into competitive games was frustrating because my Wi-Fi was awful. My brother is
the big competitive games guy.
Well,
I'm not. Wait.
And the thing is, it wouldn't even be like, oh, well, you're not good at the game and that's why you're complaining about it. That's not always the case. Sometimes you just die because your connection is bad. And simply because of bad Wi-Fi, I've gained a problem with gamer rage. Because I will be destroying someone on my
sometimes
screen.
It's very hard to live with you, Pedro. Especially when you live in my room. Because I'll just be sitting here chilling out like vegging out playing Stardew Valley or something, and you'll be like, "What the fuck? I'll fucking kill you!" And they'll be like, "Dude, shut up."
That was exclusively last night because I still have the same problem that a lot of people have. When you put in headphones or a headset, you don't hear how loud you are, and it becomes a problem. Because I'm naturally loud as a person, so when I put in headphones and I can't gauge how loud I am, it gets worse. And I understand that's a problem. I also understand that gamer rage is a problem. It's not something... It's something that became popular, but it's completely self-destructive and honestly shouldn't be held to a regard that it is. Because everyone's like, oh yeah, I watch so-and-so because they get mad and break shit.
Yeah.
That's like
but
saying...
the thing is, though, they're not watching that because they're like, that's a cool guy. They're watching that because they're like, look at this fucking loser getting mad over a video game.
Well, yeah, exactly.
That's why people still tune into Wings of Redemption streams just to go, oh, wow, look at this fucking loser.
The name, you've said it. Oh, no.
Wings of Redemption will be a running joke on this show. I don't care.
But, well, no, and gamer rage is a problem, and yes, tilt is a thing. And people get mad at games when they lose. And I understand that. But there's also, like... I also understand some of it. When there are games that have problems that are easily abused, and that is the reason you die, it can be very frustrating because you didn't necessarily lose because of a skill difference. Which is why I herald CSGO as one of the best competitive games of all time, because it's highly, like, you have to be good at Counter-Strike to be good. There's not, like, an abusive mechanic you can use.
Exactly.
Other than arguably Peeker's advantage, which everyone knows it's there and everyone's already had their time to adjust to it. So in games like CSGO, Peeker's advantage is a problem for new players because it's starting to blow up again. But I don't see why it's not a problem with the fundamentals of the game anymore because it's been out for so long. If Counter-Strike re-released or became a new game when they released a new Counter-Strike and it had Peeker's advantage and was still trying to be competitive, yeah, I would understand that.
Yeah.
Peeker's advantage is a problem that's born into any video game FPS, which is why Valorant's trying to fix that. Valorant's trying to get rid of Peeker's advantage, which is smart. They're trying to make a game that is based entirely off of skill. And I get that. But I also understand when people get mad at other games simply because there are flaws in the game's development. Like Destiny 2. I stand Destiny 2 for a long time, and I can't anymore. I can't even open the game anymore. Because there are
I never got the appeal behind either of the Destinies. Well,
I'm a looter shooter fanatic. I love looter shooters. I love the Borderlands franchise. I'm not going to stand the Borderlands franchise because I see why a lot of people
There's so many problems with the Borderlands franchise.
I see a lot of the problems people are talking about. I know the comedy and the jokes and the humor in the games doesn't carry to a lot of people. I just played them and I like looter shooters, so when I heard about Destiny, I was like, yeah, it's a really good-looking looter shooter.
Yeah, and it's made by Bungie, the people who brought you Halo.
Exactly. So I started to play it, and as I'm playing, I realized, and like not in Destiny 1 so much because I wasn't old enough to really understand the complexities of things like game balance. I just knew that, yeah, this gun was good, this gun wasn't. That was basically what I knew back then. Now, when I play Destiny 2, it's frustrating because the game is certain weapons in that game are just innately better. And anyone that plays Destiny 2 can agree that right now auto rifles just are broken. They're too good. And I can't stand it because I can outplay someone with game mechanics 100% of the time. I get first shot, I get the advantage, I'm behind them, I shoot them first. But because their weapon is stronger than mine, because of the way the game is programmed, Destiny has always been in a state of imbalance, and that's not... I don't agree.
That's kind of like a problem that I have with Dark Souls PvP, going back to Dark Souls, is Dark Souls PvP is... Except when you get to Dark Souls 3. When you get to Dark Souls 3, it's the best it's ever been.
Yeah.
Arguably the best it's ever been. But people will still say they prefer Dark Souls 1 PvP because of the weird exploits that are in it that kind of make it weird and fun, like dead angling, which is a technique where you swing a great sword at angles to catch frames of a player and you do that for damage, or backstab canceling, all that weird shit. Dark Souls 3 doesn't really have that because Dark Souls 3 was worked on way more extensively than Dark Souls 1. They had a lot more time and funding to finish the project. which is a problem with Dark Souls 1, where they kind of ran out of time and they had to rush the game, so there's still a lot of jank left in it. But with Dark Souls 3, they still have this problem with twink builds. I don't know if you know what a twink build is, but a twink build is basically when someone gets very high-level loot at a very early point in the game, so they can invade low-level players and destroy them with high-level loot.
Just to get the rewards of PvP.
Just to get the PvP rewards, right? Which is like embers and shit, which will expand your health bar and let you use online. Which is, I think, a big problem with Dark Souls. And the thing is, I've been invaded by so many fucking twink builds and destroyed because, one, I'm not good at PvP. I could do PvE all day. I could mop up a fucking Dark Souls game as long as I don't get invaded. Same with my brother who's fucking 14, but he beat every Dark Souls game like 14 times.
Yeah, your brother's inhumanly good at Dark Souls.
Yeah, but he can't do PvP for shit because he doesn't... Me and him don't understand the exploits and how the PvP really works all too well. But there's a beautiful thing that I've seen in the Dark Souls community called anti-twink builds, which is just a twink build that hunts other twink builds.
Well, basically, and a lot of those things that I think, exploits like that are okay. I get when they happen, and I understand that.
The thing is, that doesn't...
When they carry over to new games because the developers did not go back over and fix, which is my problem with Bungie. Bungie rebalances their game, and then something else is broken. They've never made a system where, yes, every gun... And I'm not saying there is a... You're chasing perfection at that point, which understandably is difficult, but I don't think you shouldn't try. Because Destiny 2, in every phase of its life, has had a meta. And I don't like meta. I like games like The Division 2, which, yes, it has its meta, but at the same time, its meta is very blanketing. There's like 50 different builds you can run in that meta just to stay competitive.
Dark Souls is a big example of meta, because there's a meta for every fucking weapon type in the game. And, well, there's a meta just for... in general. In Dark Souls 3, the meta is straight swords. Because straight swords attack fast, they don't take very much of your stamina, and they can hit behind you with certain frames.
Right.
And even then, the meta in Dark Souls is fucking amorphous. It's ever changing. Because the devs are constantly balancing the weapons. Well, I wouldn't say constantly, because Dark Souls is one of those games that doesn't get too much maintenance because it doesn't really need it, because they're generally very polished games.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's why I'm saying, like, Destiny has reforged itself multiple times. Destiny, with each update, Destiny is like, oh yes, this game is better than it was before. Yet still has these grained-in metas. And another thing that I will also go into is that your highest level loot in any video game should never become obsolete because another piece of the same level of gear just does everything that does but better.
Which is a problem I have with Injustice 2.
A problem I have with Borderlands 3. There are weapons in Borderlands 3 that people don't use simply because there are weapons that do that weapon's job better. Perfect example. The Unforgiven, which is a slow-firing revolver that does super high critical hit damage, that gets completely outpaced and trashed by the Love Drill, which is a gun that came with a DLC that you have to pay for. And what it does is it gives you a high critical boost, but there's no shot speed penalty, so you can still spam fire it. And it, whenever you get a headshot or you shoot, it has a 20% chance to do just straight up double damage. I don't understand why Borderlands, the devs didn't go, oh yeah, this is going to basically make this weapon obsolete. Or they could have gone and said, well yes, this makes this weapon obsolete, so let's go back to the old weapon and change the old weapon and make it to where I think that when you grind, and for certain games, like, when you grind for a piece of gear that is maximum rarity, it should have a place and a purpose.
Yeah, it shouldn't immediately be made obsolete by just a rando piece of fucking gear that it looks like... My main problem with that is there's a lot of shit that looks like level 1 gear that is like level 99 and does more than this fucking piece of gear that you spent fucking 150 hours trying to get doing raid bosses and shit, which I assume is a problem that Destiny has. I don't know. I've never played it.
Well, yeah, Destiny's huge problem right now is sunsetting. People grinding hours, painful amounts of hours, to get certain weapons with certain rules, because the Destiny system is not like the Borderlands system in that there are... Well, actually, it's almost exactly the same. In Borderlands, there's perfect versions of guns, where you can get a gun with perfect parts, where it has all the bonuses, like bonus damage, bonus critical hit damage, simply because of the parts it has. And they are extremely hard to get. And the sunsetting quote-unquote problem with Borderlands is that every time they release a new level cap, you have to regrind and spend another 150, 200 hours trying to get that perfect gun again, because you can't bring that gun up to level. Right. Now, that used to not be a problem in Destiny because you could infuse. You had that god roll, you could bring it up and infuse another gun into it to bring it up to the new max level. Well, now Destiny has sunsetted some other guns to where the new max level cap in the coming update Beyond Light is 1360, but these weapons only go to 1060 even with infusion, making them obsolete, pointless, and not worth having anymore. Which is where there's so much rage coming from the community, because not only are they sunsetting guns, they're sunsetting whole locations. They're taking locations out of rotation. Like the Leviathan. The Leviathan is the place you go to do the first 3 raids that they introduced to the game. And they're just getting rid of it. So now all that raid loot you can't get anymore until they bring it back. So they've sunset the raid loot, and then the raid loot itself is also capped at an infuse level now, so you can't even use it in the end game, even though it may be your favorite gun in the game, which is the problem. So I don't agree with sunsetting. I think that if you put a gun into a game, give it a unique perk, or give it, regardless whether it has unique perks or not, when you put a gun into a game, you should be able to consistently get that gun to max level to improve player comfort. It's literally quality of life. It's like, hey, I found this gun I really like, and I want to bring it to max level, which is what I liked a lot about Destiny and what I didn't like about Borderlands.
Right. I want to move on from Destiny, because I have literally nothing to talk about with Destiny.
Fair enough.
At all.
I was mainly just talking about the topic of sunsetting in general.
Yeah.
It would be like in Dark Souls, if there are weapons you could get in Dark Souls that you can't bring to max level.
No, that doesn't exist in Dark Souls.
Exactly, you can bring every weapon to max level.
Yeah, but the thing is with Dark Souls, some weapons are just shit.
Well, yes.
Some weapons are ass with a bad moveset and no one uses them. But the thing is, there's always a challenge run where someone's like, you know what, I'm going to use one of the worst fucking weapons in the game and get to the end of the game without getting hit once. And people do that, which is insane to me. Dark Souls is one of the best examples of a challenge run heavy game. It is, in terms of replayability, it's hard to find a game that has more replayability than Dark Souls.
Well, yeah, and that's where we can bring in our another topic we can talk about. Difficulty for difficulty's sake.
Difficulty for difficulty's sake is fucking bullshit, and that's why I don't like Dark Souls 2.
Like rewardless difficulty. Like perfect example would be playing through Borderlands 13 times to get to max level. That's how many times you have to beat.
That just sounds tedious.
It is. You have to, like, not the entire game. I don't remember exactly how to get through all the OP levels, but I know it's repetitive. I know it's playing through the exact same game, just with a more difficulty added on top, and all you get is bigger damage numbers.
Right.
And I don't agree with that. That's redundancy. It's like, yes, I love playing this game, but I don't love playing this game so much that to get all of my characters to max level, which there are 6 characters in Borderlands 2, and 13 total playthroughs or difficulty levels that you have to go through to get to the end. And you have to spend so much time. Like, I remember I only ever got one character to OP8 back when OP8 was the cap, because it took me so goddamn long.
Right, yeah.
And which OP8 was still 11 playthroughs. You had the normal, True Vault Hunter, Ultimate Vault Hunter, and then OP 1 through 8, which is 11 playthroughs of the same game. Nothing ever changes, which is the frustrating part of it. If you're going to introduce New Game Plus, and you have this many levels of New Game Plus, add something new. Like when you go New Game Plus in the Tomb Raider series, in the newest Tomb Raider game, you get a choice of 3 different trees to go to with different specialized skills that focus your gameplay on a specific aspect of the game, which I enjoy. That's a cool thing to do. It makes New Game Plus interesting. It's like, hey, you can take this into New Game, but these are specific challenges and modifiers that you're going to have to go through. It's not just increased difficulty for the sake of increased difficulty or to brag that you're at max level. And there are people that will 100% go against us and say, yes, I like difficulty for difficulty's sake. But make it optional to get to the end game. Like, there are so many games where it's like, yes, I want to get to the end game, but there's such a wall of just infinite amounts of playing the game to get to end game in general that it's not even worth doing.
It's like I feel like that's a problem some people have with FromSoft games. But the thing is, they don't realize that FromSoft games, for the most part, like I'll complain about Dark Souls 2 all day because it was basically leaderless in terms of Dark Souls, because they don't really the director of the project was not Miyazaki, who is well known for being the director of Demon Souls, Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, Sekiro. All of his games, you can tell, were made by him, were led by him, because the difficulty exists, it's there, but it's fair. And in Dark Souls 2, that just doesn't exist, because there's straight up bosses that in that game that are not even difficult to play against, but are just unfair in some parts. I can't really think of an example because I refuse to play through Dark Souls 2. I mean, you can go haha get good all you want. I just never really fucked with Dark Souls 2. It's because there was a lot of shit in it that was just completely bullshit. There's a lot of bullshit in that game.
Well, yeah, and I think when a game gets stale, it lies on the developers to realize, do we rebuild the game, or do we just move on? And sometimes there are games where I think they should not have released any more updates. They should have just moved on to a new game. Perfect case in point. Destiny 2. No matter what you do with Destiny 2 anymore, no matter what you do, it's still going to be repetitive, jumping into a first-person shooting dungeon, killing a boss, getting a reward, and repeating. And I don't think that there's anything they can do now with the Destiny platform that's super innovative anymore. And I get that there's like a niche now for Destiny players that they love that aspect of Destiny, and I get that. But they can update that game, but make something new. Take a concept that you liked, or make a new game. Because a lot of what Bungie is doing is they're just building Destiny 2 over and over again. They rebuilt it for the new light. They rebuilt it to make it free to play, which is cool. Awesome. I love it. Now they're rebuilding it again to make Beyond Light. Stop rebuilding. Build something completely new from the ground up. Because people will enjoy seeing something that they love getting a fresh coat of paint, which is why the business of remasters still exists. Exactly.
Because it makes a shit ton of money. People love seeing something that they enjoyed playing through once look better and have new features added to it, which is why that happens, which is why people don't like to, which is why there's not as much new shit as there is just remaking it but like prettier. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what you do with a remaster. You put a fresh new painted coat on an old
paint of coat.
We're gonna scream past that. Like, I didn't say what I just said.
Cut that out in post.
Yeah, in post. That's gonna be a running joke because we don't have an editor. But
I edit all these videos myself.
Oh yeah, and it's not even video; it's just audio.
Yeah.
With a picture attached.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of, we need to get a new picture.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get a commission for that.
For the AFD show. Hey, if you can draw.
Hey Ethan, I know you're listening to this.
You draw us a picture with a fat Puerto Rican kid. It gives me the afro that I used to have.
We'll send you a picture of what Pedro looks like, Ethan.
Exactly, yes. I am a human thumb. If it makes you feel any better, just think that the thumb people from the Spy Kids series. But We're gonna have to get a new picture for the AFD show.
Yeah. I mean, the first episode is just going to be the one that I already have because it's convenient. I already have it.
Of course.
But, the second episode, we might have a new logo for it.
Exactly. And back to what we were talking about before, a remaster. Fresh coat of paint on an old product.
Fresh paint of coat.
Exactly. A fresh paint of coat on an old product that makes it replayable for the people that enjoyed it before.
Right.
It comes to a point when you continually update a game that you're basically just remastering it, and you should focus your energy on improving and going forward. Because there are a lot of problems in Destiny 2 that just get ignored. And I wouldn't necessarily know perfect exact examples because I don't play the game anymore. I gave up on it because it was just repetitive and boring. And I've played it to the point of nausea. And so I don't enjoy playing it anymore. But there are still bugs that have been there since release. So it's not even like the devs can say they're going through quality of life. Because quality of life in Destiny 2, in my personal opinion, is god-awful. There's no quality of life improvements that have ever come.
Here's an argument that you and me can have, Pedro.
Debate time.
Debate time. The state of the Fallout series.
I think 76 was a good idea. I think
executed extremely fucking poorly. I told you. I
think it flopped. Honestly, I do regret paying all the money for the pre-order and shit because
I fucking told you. I was like, you shouldn't pre-order it. It's gonna be ass. And you're like, no, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be really good, dude.
And to be fair, it is fun when you're playing with other people. It's not Fallout 76 is Fallout for multiple people. It's really only enjoyable when you play with multiple people.
That you know.
Yeah, because unless you didn't play Fallout 4, solo play is just boring, repetitive. But when you play with a group, you can go attack higher levels, and there's like a new level of difficulty to it, and there's somewhat more of a challenge, and you can have funny moments because the game is full of bugs and glitches and errors, and I get it. But at the same time, I think they should have waited until they could have at least put out a new game engine.
I think they should have waited because I don't think the technology was there for a competent Fallout 76. The thing is, you can tell it was such a fucking cash grab because they just shoved that shit out there. They weren't even on time constraint. You can't even make that
right.
You can't even make that fucking that excuse that they were on crunch time, guys. Because even if they were, Fallout New Vegas was on complete fucking crunch time, and that is the best Fallout game, bar none.
And another thing that I will say, in my personal opinion about the game, is that people looked negatively upon 76 for the marketing team's blunders with the stuff like the bag. And I get it.
Right.
And I get it, everyone was mad at Bethesda, but that doesn't mean you forsake the game for something that had nothing to do with the game itself.
I refuse to fuck with Bethesda now. They're dead to me. I'm never buying another Bethesda project again because of the scummy fucking business practices that happened with Fallout 76.
Right, and I get that. But I'm also going to sit here and say I'm not going to stand 76. I'm not going to stand any game because every game has its
Bethesda stands fucking at me. At Conbo Cast Corpo. I'll argue with you hours on hours.
Oh no. But no, I'm not going to stand any one game series simply because I enjoy playing it. If I enjoy playing a game, that's my personal decision to play. I'm not going to sit here and try to convince other people to play it or convince other people that it's better. Because there are fundamental builds in games that people like more than others. Some people like hack and slashes. Some people like MOBAs. Some people like MOBAs over FPSs and so on and so forth. It becomes a thing of comfort. I'm not going to sit here and tell you your game preference is bad because you like League of Legends more than you like Borderlands.
Yeah.
I have no right to say that. I'm not the one-stop authority on video games.
Exactly. I just don't... It goes back to like gatekeepers and shit. I hate gatekeepers who are like, oh, you like this band? Name every one of their songs.
Well, exactly. Just because you listen, like, and that's a perfect example of standing gone wrong. That's people of a culture attacking the same people of that culture, which is part of what gaming is now. People that play League of Legends or that play specific games that other people don't like are just attacked for it, and it doesn't make any sense.
It's kind of becoming the new music. The new music, if that makes any sense. Because music is one of the most derisive fucking things ever. Oh, you listen to that shit?
Well, exactly, and that's the exact anti of what music, in my mind, is.
Music is a
Built
fucking...
to bring people together.
Exactly. That's why there's bands.
Exactly. That's why it's literally built to bring people together. And I don't like in popularity now is that if someone listens to music that everyone listens to, just because a song is popular,
it's bad.
People think it's bad. And I hate that. Because you know what that is? That's entitlement. That's you're so fragile in your own sense of uniqueness that you think you have to listen to music that only you listen to because you're unique. It's you're seeking and reaching to be unique so hard that you're actively denouncing what can be good music simply because other people listen to it. So now you have an anti of what music is becoming a culture. Oh, you listen to Maroon 5?
Topic number 2.
Everybody listens to Maroon 5. Maroon 5 is garbage. Adam Levine sound like someone is grabbing his nut whole song. It's really bad.
Someone is grabbing his nut whole song like an angry Korean
bad.
dude.
Exactly. Like, it's frustrating to me that people can't just be like, yeah, the music is good. Music is music. It's not meant... It's made by an artist.
Music is
people,
music.
For people that enjoy listening to that artist.
Song is song.
Just because someone listens to a brand and type of music doesn't mean you should denounce them. Now, there are exceptions. If someone listens to a song that is literally just KKK propaganda...
Yeah, if you listen to white power metal, get the fuck off of my podcast.
Like, if the music is, like, driven towards, against people, then I understand that. I understand denouncing people that listen to stuff like white power metal. I get that. But at the same time, there's also people that are just like, oh, you listen to so-and-so? Everybody listens to so-and-so. And simply because he's popular, he's trash.
Exactly.
Since when has your subjective
Since when has popularity gone into the quality of an artist?
Exactly.
I can understand... The way that I think about it is because I'm guilty of this occasionally. But the reason why I say that is... The only reason I will ever say that is because I hear a song and it gets overplayed and I don't want to hear it. Like our roommate Noah listens to Kevin Gates all the fucking time.
But
I'm not gonna like disparage him for listening to Kevin Gates all the time. It's just I don't like Kevin Gates because it's overplayed. I can acknowledge that Kevin Gates is a good artist with a lot of fucking talent. I just don't like it.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's like country music. We live in a town where country music is overwhelmingly popular.
I love country music, but just a specific type of it.
Do I dislike people because they like country music? No. Am I gonna say country music is bad music? No, it's just not my cup of tea. Music is built for preference, just like games are built for preference.
Exactly.
It is a leisure thing. It's not like you're gonna get shot simply because you don't like X music. It's not like the artist
I mean, if you don't like X's music, you might get shot, but...
Well, yeah, I hate the fact, like, K-pop is the worst about it. It canceling people because they don't like
literally
music.
the whole thing, the whole stan phrase is come about because of K-pop.
Yeah, blatant ignorance, literally denouncing people's death because it's not K-pop. K-pop stands...
Wait, didn't they fucking say Lil Peep was ass because he wasn't K-pop?
No, there was I remember I was watching a video about K-pop standing. Literally, the funeral post for Josette Onfroy, XXXTentacion, the memorial post in the comments...
was bombarded by K-pop stans.
Yeah, who cares? His music was bad anyways. Better song. Generic K-pop song.
Generic K-pop.
Insert.
Dude, all it is... Okay, you know what? Fuck it. Hot take. K-pop is bad music.
See, I'm not gonna say it's necessarily bad music because it is what it is.
No, I'm not gonna say K-pop itself is bad. I don't like K-pop. I just fucking hate K-pop stans.
The culture that has arisen around it.
At me, K-pop stans. Fuck you guys.
The community that has arisen around it and the toxicity.
Try to cancel me before I even start. Come on.
Is gross. It's disgusting. It's awful.
It's toxic. It is literally toxic.
It's literally people shaming dead people because they're not K-pop. Like, people that are like, oh man, X was so important to me. I listened to his music when I was sad, which a lot of people did.
Our close friend Gabe.
Exactly.
He was a very big X and Juice WRLD fan, and he was affected by their death.
But if Gabe had something on Twitter like, man, KX in my life was revolutionary, like he was so bright, he was up and coming, he was going to be great, and then his life was taken. And then you have K-pop fans in the comments like, who even cares? He's
not BTS.
Exactly.
Big time socialist.
Exactly. I don't understand why people can't. It's the death of someone.
Yeah.
Life is precious.
K-pop stans bombarded Etika's death.
Exactly. It's like, just because someone has spoken out and said they don't like what you like, doesn't mean they're any less of a person. Or just because someone made music that you didn't like, doesn't mean that they deserved to die.
I remember one of the most disgusting examples of K-pop stanery is when the news came out that MF Doom's son died. And they bombarded the fucking post saying, who fucking cares?
It's not K-pop.
It's not K-pop. Even MF Doom's son wasn't even in the music industry. I'm a huge MF Doom fan. I have listened to MF Doom for literal years, and he continues to be one of my favorite artists of all time. And when his son died, I felt for him, because that is one of the most horrible things that can ever happen to you. Is
the loss of a loved one.
Especially your child.
That's why, like, even if, like...
And that's why it's disgusting to me when someone says, oh, who fucking cares?
Yeah, like, it doesn't matter... It doesn't matter who... Well, I mean, it does kind of matter who died. Like, some people deserved to die, and I believe that with a full chest.
Hitler died. Who cares?
Like, some people...
K-pop stans, why don't you guys go talk about that?
Like, I will say some people do deserve to die, and I believe that with a full chest. Like, if you take advantage of kids, I do believe...
Oh, yeah, if you're a pedophile, I think we should bring back fucking the electric chair for pedophiles. Except we should figure out a way to make it longer.
No. I don't think... Because I do believe...
No, child molesters, not pedophiles. Because
not pedophiles.
Pedophilia is a mental disease. And I know there's a whole community of people who know that it is a problem and they do not want it.
Right. It's
I don't think they should have therapy for that. But for people who act on those desires
and rape kids
and fuck with kids, you are disgusting and I will kill you myself.
Now, I believe in redemption for everyone.
Except child molesters. Child molesters don't deserve redemption. Fucking die.
And I agree to an extent with people
I will never change my opinion on this.
With people saying that, it's irredeemable, or everyone can have redemption.
There are some things I believe are completely irredeemable.
I don't think the death sentence is inhumane in a lot of cases where it's used.
Yes.
And yes, there are the cases where, like, he was executed and then they found out he was innocent. And
yes, that's horrible. That's horrible.
I get that. I get it. I feel for you 110%. There was a loss of life that should not have happened. But at the same time, if you take the life of another person, you have forfeited your right to your life because it was not your place to take that person's life unjustly.
Unjustly.
Now, this is not me saying, he was going to stab me, so I shot him. Imprison the person that shot him. No.
Because that happens a lot, actually.
Exactly, yeah. What I'm saying is, if you went out, killed an innocent person out of sheer cold-bloodedness, you have forfeited your right to your life. And I don't care what anyone says, the death penalty is inhumane, well, then use a different form of death. Because people do survive lethal injection, yes, I get that. It's horribly painful if you survive lethal injection. But at the same time, we had a humane way of killing people.
Motherfucker, if you molest children, you get the electric chair, I hope you survive.
We had a humane way of killing people. We just shot them.
Yeah, line them up against the fucking wall.
And dead. And everyone's saying it's inhumane. How? How would that be inhumane if your life ended like that? It was just the pull of a trigger, and then your life was over.
I can kind of see if they keep missing vital organs and shit.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Just put the gun in the back of their head.
Yeah.
And I get, oh, well, then they can't have an open coffin funeral. I apologize.
If you fuck kids, you don't deserve an open casket funeral.
I'm not talking about child molesters.
I know. I still am, because that shit makes me angry.
I'm past it.
I'm
but
not.
Murderers and people that have taken the lives of others for no reason do deserve to die, because that is not their place. It's not their life to take. That is essentially man trying to play God. And then you have all the people that like to argue, well, what about war? What about war?
I don't think war should happen in the first place, but as long as humans are humans, war is going to exist.
Well, I think war will exist, yes, but I think war can be done with words. You can speak to someone and give them an idea that will change them as a person. All it takes is one sentence. Just like the completely out of place Steve Buscemi quote from fucking Spy Kids, where he literally says
God
something.
stays in heaven because he too lives in fear of what he's created?
Exactly. That statement has stuck with me since I watched those movies, because as a little kid I thought it was heavily out of place.
It's super fucking out of place.
It's in
movie. Spy Kids. It's not even just a kids movie. Like, I could be watching Toy Story and see that in there and like, huh, that's weird.
Yeah, that's not...
That's odd. But the fact that it's fucking Spy Kids 2 fucking kills me. And it's a weird out of context quote.
And that falls in line with, I do believe that if people worked together, we could make one unified race. I think that if people got over their differences, which is hard to do, and stopped thinking of people that believe in different things as lesser...
Or enemies.
Exactly. Just because someone believes in something different from them. Like, perfect example, flat earthers. I will never in my life agree with...
The Flat Earth Society has members all around the globe.
You stop that. But I don't disagree with flat earthers, or I don't agree with flat earthers. But am I gonna
wish death on them?
No. You as a human being have lived your own life.
If you're a flat earther, you're fucking dumb, but I'm not gonna wish harm upon you. I'm just gonna wish you realize that there's more things to be concerned about than the government lying to you the world's flat.
Well, and personally, I think politics are a sham. I think politics, in my mind...
I agree with you. Politics are a fucking sham.
I've said this before. It shouldn't matter what group of people you associate with or who you ally yourself with.
People is people.
Exactly. Humans are humans. We're all people. Republican, Democrat shouldn't fucking matter. That's just like people that, like, in romantic situations say, oh, your star sign is such and such. Don't even ask me on a date. That I won't understand either.
I'm sorry I ran over your kids, but it's because I'm a Gemini.
That's awful. But...
I'm actually a Gemini, too.
But, like, these things that set people apart shouldn't be fuel to disparage other people.
Exactly. Because there is, especially now, there is a huge fucking problem with people not realizing that the other side of your argument is a person too.
Exactly. It's like, if you disagree with me, you're not a human, or you're less than
If you disagree with me, you're a Nazi, or if you disagree with me, you're a fucking commie. It's weird.
Exactly. It's so dumb. People need to understand that everyone is human. Everyone makes mistakes. But at the same time, people have their own experience and form their opinions.
There's a reason why someone has come to the conclusion that they are at.
Exactly.
It might not be the right reasons, but there's a reason why they're there.
Exactly.
Like I will argue with neo-Nazis all fucking day, but they weren't born neo-Nazis.
Exactly.
I am a Jew. Nazis are bad. Nazis are really fucking bad. But there's a reason why that person has reached that point of reference. And in most situations, it's they were born into it, their parents were into it, their parents' parents were into it, that sort of thing.
Exactly. Sometimes it is a cultural thing. You are born and bred into it, and you don't have the choice of denouncing it. But once you're at a certain point in your life, you can make that decision to denounce them.
Exactly. But
That's just like I have a
It's very hard because it's very hard to do that for most people. There's a reason why most KKK members stay KKK members their whole life.
Exactly.
It's because they don't go outside of their comfort zone. Most KKK members never even met a black person or sat down and had a conversation with them.
Exactly.
That's why I really love and support the work of Daryl Davis, who is a very famous jazz pianist, a black man himself, who went out of his way to speak to Klans members, neo-Nazis, extremist groups, and just talk to them and let them know that, hey, I'm a person too, and I have thoughts, feelings, a family, opinions, same as you do. And a lot of those people left those organizations. That's why we got on the topic of redemption earlier. Those people can be redeemed.
Exactly.
Unless you kill someone, then fuck you. But
well, yeah, like I think that in order, okay, this is going to be a bold statement.
Brave New World.
But in order for the human race to save itself, we have to forget the past and move on. Because there's nothing we can do now to change what happened back then.
I know.
We understand, and everyone knows the atrocities that humans have pulled on other humans. It's widely known. Everyone knows the Holocaust is a thing.
The greatest tool for evil is dehumanizing your enemy.
Exactly. And we all know about slavery. We all know about the Holocaust. But is anything we do now going to go back in time and take those people out of chains?
That's why I always fucking hate the argument that I am somehow responsible or hold in any way some form of blame for slavery. Because I wasn't born then, my family didn't even get off the boat from fucking Europe until the 40s. Yet I've had so many people tell me that my family was responsible for slavery and shit like that. It's like if I admonished a black guy for the sins of Idi Amin.
Right. Like, I do not think that if we continue dwelling on the past, we are going to have
if we keep dwelling on the past, we're going to destroy ourselves in the future.
Well, exactly. The thing is, we need to... Yes, we all know atrocities were committed by humans on humans.
Exactly. It happens all the time, every day.
Happened. We can't change it.
We need to focus on the shit that's happening now.
Now, what's coming ahead?
Basically,
what we're doing is we're driving facing backwards.
Exactly.
That's essentially what we're doing as a species.
You're driving
right now.
It's more like driving, but looking at the rearview mirror the whole time.
Or just driving while facing backwards. Driving in reverse. You're in reverse, except you're looking out the front window like something's going to happen.
Yeah.
You can't change what's already happened. It's the same phrase, water under the bridge. No, I'm not dismissing what happened.
I will never in my life dismiss slavery. That's like if someone dismissed the Holocaust happened, which a lot of fucking people do.
But does that mean they should die for their belief? No.
No,
I don't care. Believe whatever you want to believe.
Okay, if you say to my face the Holocaust didn't happen, I will swing on you. That's just me. But
that's part of the problem. People need to quit reacting violently to opposing ideas.
That is a problem that I have. I wish I could talk to someone who doesn't believe the Holocaust happened and be like, yeah, why do you think that? Why do you think that didn't happen?
You think that?
But it's just, I think a part of it is there's people come from these places from a place of compassion. No one believes that they are evil and they are doing things for evil's sake. People believe that they do things because they are the good guys in their own head. Everyone. Exactly. Literally everyone.
And the thing is, we as a race need to agree to disagree and fucking move on. These religious conflicts that have been happening for so long could have been avoided if they just agreed to leave each other the fuck alone. Because what you're doing now is, especially with places like the Middle East, is you have these cultures attacking each other, and then the other culture attacks in retaliation. If you left each other alone and stopped trying to convert everyone to what you believe in, it shouldn't matter. It's a person's choice to believe what they believe in.
It's kind of like the Israel-Palestine conflict.
Exactly.
I think Palestine definitely has more of a reason to be there, but it doesn't negate the fact that that is Jewish Holy Land.
Right.
I think it should be divided evenly between the two of them. It should not be predominantly Jews there, because Israel, for the most part, is an unjust state. I'm a Jew saying that Israel is an unjust state, but there is a reason why Jews are there.
I am going to go out on a limb and say something very bold, very brash. Something
And brash.
Something that can be taken very, very offensively by a lot of people. A lot of racism and fights for equality come out of entitlement. Because people act like, modern people, act like we as white, and I'm going to say this not necessarily in defense of white people, but this is just what it looks like, because I don't participate in either side. I don't defend white people, and I don't defend black people, because both sides make mistakes.
I just like to sit on the sidelines and be like, hey, that's wrong from both of you.
Exactly. Both sides make mistakes. A lot of black people... And
both sides make mistakes because, again, both sides are human.
Exactly. And what I'm going to say is as follows. Acting like white people paying black people now, and, in the racial inequality, and, black people make less, and so on and so forth, acting like that's going to go back and change slavery is a farce.
Yeah.
And the idea that white people owe black people for slavery is done simply out of entitlement and greed, because it'd be different if we had a time machine and black people were saying, hey, use that time machine, go back and fix it. Because yes, then they would have a legit argument.
Well, yeah, then we could do something about it.
Exactly. But pretending that paying nowadays, that giving black people more benefits is going to fix what happened back then is a cop-out. It's an excuse to ask for more money.
Yeah, and it takes attention away from the actual injustices happening towards black people every day.
And injustices happen all over.
All over the world.
To every race. Every race has a bias against it and a bias for it. And yes, it's a problem, but it should stop in the mind. It should stop exactly at thoughts. There should be no actions. You shouldn't think, I'm going to step on the other side of the road because the group approaching me is a perfect example. A lot of people in our city, or in our town, it's not even a city, don't like associating with natives, like Native Americans, because we live right next to multiple Indian reservations.
Yeah.
The bias should stop in the mind.
Yes.
You shouldn't want to not associate with someone simply because of the color of their skin or because of what they believe in. You just agree to disagree and you move on and get past it. Because
I will always subscribe to the belief that everyone is equally trash.
Exactly. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone has... That's literally part of growing up, being an adult, is realizing the mistakes you've made and how to fix them. Because a lot of what happens and a lot of the good that comes out of the world is when someone makes a mistake and then they pay for it. And they go back and they say, hey, I fucked up. Let me fix it. But my argument is, us fucking up back then will not be remedied by paying more now.
Yeah, especially when people who had nothing to do with it are caught in the crossfire.
Exactly. You have innocent people being prejudiced, judged, actively discriminated against for something they had no part in. Like,
there's a, this is more old hat now because of obvious reasons, because there's a lot more shit going on right now, but the third wave of feminism, people talking about the wage gap and shit, but there was actual gender inequality that you could have been talking about, like, I don't know, Sharia law.
Right.
Where women are, stoned to death in the streets, and fucking gay men are thrown off of fucking buildings. That's actual inequality.
Right.
And no one talks about it.
Exactly. And then it boils down to as follows. If people could accept other people and would accept other people, we would not have this problem.
We would not have this problem. But it comes down to the fact that it is human nature to draw lines in the sand and say, I stand here, you stand there, therefore I am right, you are wrong.
Which is something we need to get rid of, because as it stands as a planet, we will not survive the next 200 years.
Especially not with nuclear weapons.
Exactly. Especially not with nuclear weapons, because then you have to think, at the push of a button, we could literally end the world. And that's not just humans. That's everything. Trees, wildlife, the entirety of the beauty of this planet.
The thing is, everything would die off for a bit, and then animals, plants would come back. Except we would be fucking gone. And the world would probably be much better off.
Now, that can only be said if we have the same problems we had before. The thing is, we need to remove prejudice. And another thing is, separating people based on how they believe is cool and all. And I get making countries based on beliefs. But don't disagree and refuse to work with other countries because they believe in different things.
Exactly.
Like, the United Nations was a damn good idea. Bringing multiple countries together to pool their resources simply because natural resources are more readily available in certain countries than others. Like India. There's shit tons of oil in India. Everyone knows that. There's nowhere near as much oil in America as there's in India. So, why focus on your differences when you could come together and advance the race?
The human race.
The human race. Not the American race or the Indian race. The human race.
The thing is, there is no such thing as races. There is one race. Human. There's
ethnicity.
There's ethnicity. It's not racism, it's ethnicityism, or whatever the fuck that term would be. Ethnicism. It's not racism, it's ethnicitism. Because the racism itself is a old fucking concept that somehow still exists today.
Yeah, using the word racism
itself is a misnomer.
Is pretty much an oxymoron, because by saying the word racist, you're being racist because you're assuming that because you are different skin colors, you are of different quality.
Yeah.
That is literally where that was
legit,
born from.
It's legit it harkens back to the day when it was mostly white people, because they were in control.
Yeah, we made a mistake.
We made fat fucking mistakes back then.
We committed atrocities to mankind. Yes.
But mankind itself commits atrocities to mankind all the fucking time, and pretending like it's just one group of people is not going
vastly.
It's fucking not going to change anything.
Exactly.
It's not going to change anything. Pretending that all you're doing is creating.
I'm gonna let this inner monologue play out. I'm gonna go take a piss. I'll return.
Okay. All you're doing is creating a pariah folk so you can point and say there's where our problems lie. But the thing is, we're all the same. We're all human. We all make mistakes. We're all born from our mothers and our fathers. We all bleed. We all cry. But people like to. Like I said earlier, it's really easy for you to give fire to your argument if you dehumanize the other side of your argument, which is what happened with slavery. It's what happened with the Holocaust. It's what happened with the Armenian genocide. It's what happened with every genocide throughout history. Is dehumanizing your argument. Is dehumanizing your enemy. And I don't even like using the word enemy, because I don't want to make enemies, But humanity we're in a tough place right now. We really are. And we need to work things out together, or we are going to completely destroy ourselves. There will be no lives, no promises or hopes for our future generations if we don't work our shit out now. Very heavy episode of very heavy first episode for the AFD show. But while we're waiting for Pedro to come back, how are you guys doing? I'm good? That's good. New episode of the Combo Cast dropping soon. Be tuned for that. Oh, okay. While he's up, let me give you guys an opportunity to send questions, concerns, hypotheticals to the conbocastcorpo@gmail.com. That is conbocastcorpo@gmail.com. You can send me anything. You can send me, questions, comments, concerns, criticism, pictures of your dick, anything. I'll accept anything and everything. If I like your question enough, and if me and Pedro or just myself like your question enough, we can put it on the podcast. It could become a discussion point. We'll make sure to credit. Yeah, we'll make sure to credit you as you were the one who posed the question. And yes, just go to conbocastcorpo.com to leave comments, questions, concerns, criticism, anything if you just want to get in touch with us. Pedro has recently just come back, so we're back on, folks.
I have returned, the second coming of the fat man.
Yes. Sit close to that mic, bud.
Okay, no, I'm too close.
Oh, no, we're good.
ASMR.
This is not an ASMR channel.
Oh boy.
But
new topic that I thought about while I was taking a piss. Is the human race trying to exclude itself from the circle of life?
I think, yeah. I think we as people, since we got that big old brain. Look at the big old brain on Brett. Since we as people have, sapience, we would like to separate ourselves from animals, thinking that they're lower forms of life, when we're more and more increasingly finding out that we're not so different.
Exactly.
And the more we try to take ourselves out of Darwinism and out of the circle of life, I think the more that we forget where we came from, and the more that our hubris increases, and the more we steadily get to the point where we are just going to straight up destroy ourselves.
Yeah, I personally believe that any loss of life is tragic, but there should be no such thing as an unnecessary loss of life.
Yes.
Because yes, it's very sad when Bambi's mom gets shot by a hunter, but that hunter is feeding his family.
Exactly.
It's not like he's just leaving the deer dead.
That's fucked, and that shit happens all the fucking time.
Exactly.
It's just poachers, killing an elephant, taking its tusks, that's it.
Exactly.
At least eat the fucking thing.
Well, yeah, it may not taste very good, but that's your fault. You did that, you killed that, and you should take responsibility by making sure it goes to good use.
I'm gonna let this inner monologue play out while I take a piss.
Ah, yes, we are rotating.
Yes, we are.
Musical chairs.
Musical toilet.
But any loss of life is tragic. But every loss of life should have a meaning, should have a purpose in advancing something. Like, yes, it is tragic if a man is eaten by a tiger, but that tiger needs to eat, because that tiger needs to stay alive. And what man is actively trying to do is to separate themselves from animals, to put themselves above the circle of life, which I think is wrong. Because trying to disobey nature is not something we should be doing. Trying to give ourselves more time rather than focusing on the quality of the time we have should not be our focus. Trying to live for 150 years should not be our goal. Trying to squeeze the most out of the 80 or so years we do live, that's a better idea. I don't think that humans should be everlasting. I think that eventually we will have our downfall and we will eventually be taken out by Mother Nature or whatever force it may be. But I do not think that we should be the force that exterminates ourselves simply because we cannot get over the differences, because we've created our own sort of tribal system, basically. Because that's essentially what a country is now. It's just the long expansion of a tribe into a massive combination of people that think and follow the same values and ideals, even though there are other groups that follow different ideas and different values, doesn't mean that they should go to war and try to unite someone under the same belief. Trying to actively tell someone else what to believe in is wrong. But at the same time, trying to unanimously create one belief shouldn't matter what someone believes in.
It really shouldn't.
Loss of life is tragic. Any loss of life, whether it be you stepping on an ant on your way through the woods to find and track a deer, to hunt and kill, to feed your family. Any loss of life is tragic, regardless of what species it is.
Yeah. Like that one fucking loss of that ant is tragic to that ant colony.
Exactly.
Maybe, I don't know.
Exactly. When you think about it, you may not think this way, but ants have families, beetles have families, maggots have families, whether we see what they see or not. Whether we live on the scale they live on or not.
They just don't.
In my opinion, they focus on the quality of the time they spend on this planet. Flies only live for how many days, but how much offspring do they produce?
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I think why we separate ourselves from animals is I'll separate us from bugs because fucking bugs are stupid. All they exist to is eat and fuck. Eat, fuck, and breed. Well, which is why, actually, most things exist.
Yeah.
But we have the ability to reason, to think, to create complex societies. Bugs don't.
I mean,
I'll cry harder when a fucking dog dies.
They do.
They do.
Like, ant colonies are very sophisticated. Matter of fact, basing an entire communication system off of pheromones is ingenious. Because that's exactly how ants communicate. They communicate...
Bees communicate by dancing.
Exactly. You know, every life
It's really cute, honestly. I love it, though.
Every life has value regardless of whether it fits the convenience of you or not.
Exactly.
Whether it be convenient for that anthill to be there or not, that's still a living creature that you are going to kill in order to move it.
Yeah.
And I understand why people try to separate ourselves because, well, look at us. We have tools, cars, planes, and everything.
Yeah, the thing is, it's the circle of life. It's the circle. I go to kill this deer
to feed
my family, and then my family lives, and then they die, and then they feed the ants. Then
they feed the ants and the maggots and the flies, who then feed the frogs, who then feed the things that feed on the frogs, and so on and so forth until the cycle comes.
I die. It goes back to that Lion King. We die. We become grass. The antelope eat the grass.
The tiger eats the antelope.
The tiger eats the tiger eats the antelope.
Whatever.
Lion, tiger. Who the fuck cares?
Big cat eat animal. Predator eats prey. The cycle continues.
Exactly.
Trying to remove ourselves from that process will be our undoing. If we do not realize that, yes, we are in essence equal to that fly in the ecosystem. Because what we've done is we've terraformed a planet and destroyed vast majorities of a planet.
We are fucking strip mining this planet.
Exactly. When what we should really be doing is focusing on keeping the planet alive, because without the planet, there is no us.
Which is why it kind of pisses me off when those conservative Republicans, it's almost always the conservatives who are like, what the fuck do we care? Business, and Jesus is coming back anyway. It goes to that Louis C.K. bit, which I really love. I don't care if Louis C.K. jerked off in front of a bunch of people. He's one of the funniest men alive. I'll take that to my fucking grave. He had this bit where it's like, if Jesus is coming back, and he comes back, he's like, what the fuck happened?
Exactly.
I made this for you! Why are the polar bears underwater?
Why are they swimming? I gave them land. And here's the thing. What it all boils down to is it's like a car. It's like a car, a bike, or anything that you use in your daily life. You take care of it, and it will take care of you. And we're starting to forget that. Yeah. We have to take care of the planet for the planet to take care of us.
It's a symbiotic relationship.
Exactly. We need it. Our entire lives are based off of we consume the carbon dioxide put out by trees. Or we take the oxygen put out by trees, output carbon dioxide. The trees feed off the carbon dioxide and put out more oxygen. That is the most basic symbiotic relationship that keeps everything alive on this planet.
Exactly.
And deforestation and things like that are
And we're
tragic.
fucking forgetting it.
We're forgetting that we need these things to live. We are so caught up in this pursuit of money, of fake currency.
Yeah, it's not even fucking real. It's
social standing.
You put value on these pieces of paper and metal. They don't mean shit. They mean literally nothing, but we put value onto them. I know this is like, I'm 14 and this is deep, but that currency means nothing. It's a societal thing where we put value onto it. The actual value is relationships that you form with people and the fucking place in which you live. That is real fucking value.
The value is not in the coin. The value is in what the coin is used to purchase.
Yes. And
even
then, the shit that we use to buy, the shit that we use, the things that we buy, that we use currency for, usually just exist they're pointless. They exist for you to flex.
Exactly. You don't need. There is no.
You do not need that. You do not need that second Versace belt or fuck. I don't know. Does Versace make belts?
You don't need a Rolex. You don't need a Rolex. There is no.
It would be nice. It would be nice to have a Rolex, but you don't fucking need one.
He's like, there's no functional difference between a Rolex and a digital watch.
It's so just one. Just one looks nicer.
One looks nicer, and we pursue this idea of social standing and being able to say, haha, at least I have these expensive, nice things. But at the end of the day, that expensive, nice thing is outperformed by something for half the price.
I know.
Because now you can buy a watch that does all of the following. You can play games on it, you can call, you can text, you can communicate.
This Bruce Wayne-ass watch.
Exactly, smartwatches.
And it's still fucking cheaper than a Rolex, which just tells the time.
Exactly. And we have this stupid. And I get why people appreciate the nicer things. Yes. It took a lot of time to make a Rolex watch. I understand that. But at the same time, your goal in life should not be to own a material item. Your goal in life should be to affect those around you in a positive manner and help those around you reach new heights.
You should be following your passions right now. Look at yourself. Are you doing what the fuck you want to do? Because I'm doing what the fuck I want to do right now. I have been trying to do podcasting for years. I'm doing that shit right fucking now. And the thing is, we have attached fake value to so much of this shit in society that we forget what we want to do because that's not going to make money.
Exactly. People have to stop and think for a second. Is it worth it?
Are you going to be happy? You fucking hate working for this Fortune 500 company, working at a desk for 60 years of your life. What's the end goal? You get to retire when you're 65? What then?
Exactly.
You're on your deathbed, you look back at your life and you think, what the fuck was all of this for?
Exactly. And of course there's the argument of, well, I chased money so that I could provide a better life for my family. You know, after I die, I want my family to be secure when they move on. And I get that. But that does not mean that you should sacrifice
your fucking ambitions, your desires, your fucking happiness.
And the happiness of those around you.
Yes, because that's one thing that people don't fucking understand. This is in every fucking 90s movie. It's the businessman who doesn't have enough time for his family. That's a real thing.
Exactly. Life should not be spent focusing on trying to reach a place in social standing. Life should be spent cherishing every moment that you have with those you love and those you spend time with, those around you.
And?
Because you're not going to be there forever.
Yeah.
Eventually you will die.
And following what you want to do. Because school, let's get on the topic for school for a minute. School is one of the most bullshit, catch-22 fucking demoralizing things that you could possibly put a kid through.
Exactly.
Because I went through school thinking I was fucking stupid. I went through school thinking I was dumb. I was retarded. I didn't fit. I'm fucking worthless. I'm not gonna make it. I went to school. In my senior year, I finally said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm done. I figured it out. I don't fit the system that school is built for. I don't fit that system. Because what the school system is training you to work at a company or training you to work. It's just training you to work.
It's preparing you to basically do what is necessary in the modern system to survive, which is work a minimum wage job until you can get past minimum wage and then make your way through the company and make more money. And I get that. I get the idea behind it, and I get that it's for a net positive, which is you don't live on the street and struggle for every meal that you get. Do I think schools should be biased towards kids that have an astute, innate ability to do something as simple as 2 + 2? No.
But that's what it is built for.
Exactly. Do I think that the kids that can do things like math better than others should be rewarded for like their natural ability? Not necessarily. Do I think they should be rewarded for using that to help those around them? Yes.
You should be rewarded for having these talents, but it shouldn't be the only way to be rewarded.
Exactly. I think that, kids, I personally, from the perspective of a child who has never had to struggle in school, I do not agree with the fact that because you are dumb, you should not progress in life.
I had to fucking bite, scratch, and claw my way up to passing.
There were kids that were working 15 times harder than me and got a grade that is nowhere near mine. Do I think that they should be punished for that? No.
But they are.
They are. I think school is its own catch-22. Because there are these kids with innate ability that get these good grades without even trying. And then there are these kids that work, that bust their asses.
It's kind of an allegory for the way society works, is some people are just born lucky.
Exactly.
It goes to one of my favorite Avatar quotes of all time, is when Zuko is talking to Aang when he's fucking in the Avatar state and shit. He's not in the Avatar state, but he's in the spirit world, and he says, My father says my sister was born lucky. He says I was lucky to be born. Which is honestly the way a fucking metric shit ton of people feel.
Exactly. People need to overcome, or at least realize, that just because you aren't good at basic skills like math does not mean you should be ashamed of yourself for not being good at that, because everyone is good at something, and this diversity, this abnormality, is what brings about things like art. People have paid millions of dollars for scribbles, for blotches of paint that were thrown onto a canvas by a famous person simply because of his social standing. And that's a tragedy. It's a travesty. But at the same time, it's also a something to look forward to, because we live in a society where you can be popular for literally doing anything. But the system is built to discourage you if you can't do simple math. You have to think about the fact that some of the smartest people in the world never went through the school system. Albert Einstein, who was both simultaneously the smartest and craziest man alive, did not even finish elementary school.
It's not true that he wasn't good at math, because that just exists to make people who were bad at math feel better, because that shit was used towards me because I was fucking dumb when it came to math. He never finished high school because he didn't fit the mold.
Exactly. He left high school, and especially nowadays, think about it. A measure of intelligence nowadays, and this is a tragedy. It's a tragedy and a sign of our advancement at the same time. Modern intelligence is how much you can do, how much knowledge you can cite without using the internet. Do I think that's how it should be? No. Is that how it is?
Knowing useless trivia doesn't make you smart. It makes you seem like an asshole when you just keep talking about it.
Exactly. And I think that one of the biggest tragedies in our world is the fact that people are being discouraged because of the way that they are. You know, people that have, mental disabilities and mental disorders, they're actively discouraged and they're shown a world where they're supposedly not supposed to fit in, or they can't fit in, or they can't find their own place, even though that's not true. I don't care if you're black, white, or purple. I don't care if you were born without legs. There is a place, your mind, you will excel in something. Your mind can do something that mine can't. And you should find that. School should not just be basic math and English. I get that that's there. And I get that busy work is supposed to teach you work ethic. And I understand that as well. But if you can prove that you have this knowledge, I don't see the need for busy work when you can spend your time elsewhere. I don't even know where this discussion is even going. I'm so far off my original topic that it's not even funny. But my personal belief is that busy work in school is a farce. It's a sham. I
fucking hate busy work. I heard this one thing, and it really made me think. 90%. There's 10% of teachers who actually care and want to help you and want to see you succeed, and the other 90% are people who are just fucking failures and they're stuck in that job.
And here's the thing. I think part of the reason why teachers don't enjoy their jobs is because they don't make enough money.
Yeah, they make nothing. You make peanuts to babysit shitty kids all day.
Exactly. The teachers are discouraged because there's no incentive in teaching. Unless you're good-hearted and you naturally understand that you're helping children become adults. And I get why there are good teachers that see that as the value in their job. But teachers should be paid more, because without teachers, you wouldn't have doctors. Without doctors, people would just actively die every day, even though there's someone with the knowledge, someone that possesses the knowledge to save them, simply because there just aren't enough people to go around.
Or because of the fact that healthcare is really fucking expensive.
Yeah. Teachers mold everything. We would not have a society if people did not pass on their knowledge.
Yeah. And I think the fact that school teachers are paid such a fucking low amount of money is the contributing factor that most of them just don't care. And when you get teachers that don't care, you get kids that
don't care.
And then when you get kids that don't care, you get a society that fucking...
It's a society that's out to get itself.
Yeah.
They feel wronged by their own society, so now their beliefs are anti their society because they feel like the system is built to wrong them. I think that one of the biggest problems in life, in general, is that people feel wronged, and they feel wronged by one person that is affiliated with a group, and so they blame that group, and that's where they develop their disliking, is simply because, this teacher didn't do a good job at teaching me, so now I dislike teachers. That's not how it should be. That's literally the same thing as racism, just with a different group. That's literally racism, except now you're focusing on someone's job and someone's workplace rather than the color of their skin. And bias is a problem. Bias is a huge problem. Basically, what it boils down to is
we're biased.
We need to celebrate our differences rather than separating ourselves because of them.
The thing with bias is everyone's got one.
Exactly. All life.
We're biased.
What I'm saying, it boils down to all life is beautiful. All life should be fought for and should be protected. And it is a farce and a lie to claim that we are above animals. All life matter. Not all lives matter.
All life matters.
There are species that we as a species have gotten rid of in our pursuit of advancement.
Bye-bye dodo. Bye-bye passenger pigeon.
Exactly. You know,
Why? Why'd we get rid of those? Oh, yeah, because we fucking shot them till they didn't fly anymore. We fucking shot them till they just weren't there.
Exactly. All life is precious. And that is the biggest thing that people fail to see.
The biggest example of humanity's hubris is hunting to extinction.
Exactly. It's
to think that we are literally playing God in the fact that we fucking just murdered them out of existence, not just one or two, all of them, is fucking weird. It's insane. And humanity's just, the more that we play God, the quicker that we're going to destroy ourselves.
Exactly. You know,
And we play God more and more every day because human-animal hybrids is not science fiction anymore. It's reality. Human-animal hybrids are right around the corner. That's reality. We're playing God there. We thought cloning was impossible 30 years ago. We succeeded in cloning something, and it's only going to get better. So the technology is only going to get more competent with time. And that's weird, and it's creepy, and it's freaky. We started this podcast by talking about video games.
Indeed. Basically, here's what everything I've said today boils down to.
My brother put his story, dead ass, what are dreams?
My entire argument for this entire podcast, not this entire podcast, everything past video games, my entire belief can be summed up in the following. All life is precious. All life has value. And to say that there is not a value to a life is disgusting. It's the biggest tragedy you can commit, is devaluating someone else or something else's life simply because you do not see it as your equal.
It just comes
My
down...
final message.
Change the world. My final message. Goodbye. So, that was the first episode of the AFD show.
Living up to its name.
Yeah. Didn't intend for it to get this heavy. Kind of glad it did, though. Very good intellectual discourse, I would say. If you enjoyed the podcast, leave a like. If you didn't,
leave a dislike.
Leave a dislike. Tell us why. Tell us why you didn't like the podcast.
One of the biggest things we are seeking is improvement in ourselves.
Improvement in ourselves, improvement with the show. Constructive criticism is the most welcome. Is the most welcome thing I could possibly see in my inbox or in my description. So
we do this for you, not for us. If there's something you don't like, say something about it.
Say something about it.
Let us
again,
know.
send your comments, questions, concerns, anything, dick pics to conbocastcorpo@gmail.com. Again, that's conbocastcorpo@gmail.com.
Or if you want to speak to me directly, you can find me at butteredovens@gmail.com. Colby, I'm looking at you actively saying put my email in the description, please. Okay,
and if you want to speak to me, conbocastcorpo. I'm not giving you my personal email.
I'm not that official that I need a business email.
Oh, no, I just have that so it's easy to sort out. Because I have important things in my personal email that I don't want to get buried.
I just have my email set up to where business type emails from corporations go to one folder, and my spam folder is built to exclude personal emails. I have my email set up really weird, but yeah.
But yeah, just send anything to conbocastcorpo, or if you want to speak to Pedro directly, go to Buttered Ovens. You would be speaking to me directly at conbocastcorpo, as I am.
Yeah, he's the sole owner of that email account. That's the only reason I threw in mine.
Yeah.
Because if you ask a question specifically to me through that email, it's probably not going to get to me.
Yes, if you ask it through Pedro, it'll get to Pedro. And if you ask a question to me through ConboCastCorpo, it'll get to me. If we like your questions, we'll put them in as topics in our podcast.
So yeah, think long and hard about it.
Think long and hard about it. I think that's it for the first episode. This has been Convo with the AFD show, and you might as well. This has been Pedro as well.
I was waiting for Colby to go first.
Since he didn't say anything.
Because he's more important. He is the driving force behind this, so I was going to let him go first. But
this has been Colby with the AFD show.
This has been Pedro with the AFD show.
Stay safe, don't catch the corona, and please be excellent to each other.
Exactly.